The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Good morning, Hoop Ballers, and welcome to another edition of Hoop Balls DFS Today. This is your Tuesday, February 2nd edition. I am your host, Santino Cacone, and I am here with the one, the only, he's making a lot of noise in the background if you can't tell, but Will Harris. How you doing today, buddy?
There was no sound in the background, you crazy person.
You're making all these tweaks and noises in the background. Like, wait a second, I'm going to introduce you.
Oh my God.
Give it a second here.
Great. I mean, this is us, so, everyone knows, our rapport. But it's great to be on, talk another day of DFS. Unfortunately, hopefully we won't have a postponement tomorrow, but it looks like we may.
Yeah, and I guess good thing it's the last game. Well, no, not good thing it's the last game. But at least this time we also have another game that starts late. So if it does get canceled, you can make pivots at best as best as you can. But yeah, I don't know how much we'll be talking about that game, and to be honest, I don't know how much exposure I would even want, just knowing that there's a high possibility of it being canceled.
True. It's a lot worse for fantasy than it is for DFS. So
yeah, and today it was, or last night was very. We record these late the night before, so I guess I could say today was very. It just stunk that the late game, which was 9, every other game started early, 7:30, 8-ish, and then we had one late game, and it got canceled about 3 minutes before the tip-off. So if you had Jokic or if you had anybody from that game, it was just ouch. But hopefully we don't have that again, even though it's the same time as the late game is the one that could be canceled. But yeah, man, I'm excited to talk 6 games. We're back on it. You were with Mike last week. I didn't listen to your guys' podcast because I already knew what to expect, but I heard some things. I heard some things that you guys weren't being so nice, and I'm over here and I have feelings too.
You can't listen to gossip. I mean, it's just nasty rumors all over the internet, especially Twitter. I mean, you can't believe that stuff.
Yeah, then that's why I don't listen to you guys. I'm gonna be out here playing my own game. I don't need you, Rodney McGruber.
You're right.
As somebody calls him, Rodney McGruber.
We didn't do you that bad.
And I like how Draymond took a page out of our. He purposely announced his name wrong or pronounced his name wrong, which was kudos to him. I liked it. I encouraged it. But yeah, we're back at the 7 o'clock start time here. We have one game at 7, one at 7:30, 2 at 8, and 2 at 10, and 6 total. And I'm excited to get into it. And before we do get into that, I do want to shout out one of our presenting sponsors. That is MyBookie, and I love MyBookie. I bet on it nightly. I was going to say daily, but nightly, because that's pretty much where all the sports happen, or nighttime right now. And I cannot wait. They have great lines on all the sports, NBA related bets, NFL. I'm assuming when MLB comes back, I didn't get to them when there was baseball that much last year. But I'm excited for the Super Bowl, man. We have less than a week from today. We're going to get into the Super Bowl. I'm assuming most people are going to be betting on it. Right now, it's 3.5 point spread, and that's going to change. But if you know me, you know that I don't give my stamp of approval out too easily. I still don't like Will, and I've known him for a while. But to earn it, you got to be the best at what you do, and MyBookie is the best sports book out there, period. It's as simple as signing up, enter the promo code HOOPBALL, HOOPBALL, and get your deposit matched halfway up to $1,000. So head on over to MyBookie if you want to add a little excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. Bet with the best. Bet with MyBookie. I also want to throw out I can't get the words out right now, but I also want to throw out a shout out. There we go. Throw a shout out to our guys over at Manscaped. And guys, Valentine's Day is coming around the corner. So whether you are a if you are a female listening to this, a guy would love this, or vice versa. Valentine's Day is upon us, fellas. Make sure you're ready for wherever the night may take you. Our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in men's below the waist grooming, are here to tell you that you need to use the best tools for the job so you can be ready for anything on that special day. 2 million men are already using Manscaped products to groom, so make sure you're one of them. The best way to get started is with the Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0. I've mentioned it many times on here, but it's full of the best products to keep you looking, smelling, and feeling nice. The Perfect Package 3.0 is led by the revolutionary third-generation Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, which has advanced skin-safe technology and features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. And let's be real, they also come with awesome boxers. That's my favorite part. The boxers are they just feel incredible. That's all I can say. They're high-performance anti-chafing boxers. They come with refined cologne, the signature scent by Manscaped, and a bunch of other things. But to get this perfect package, all you have to do is go to manscaped.com and enter the promo code HoopBall20, HOOPBALL20. Get 20% off and free shipping with that code. Again, that's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the promo code HoopBall20. So have a happy Valentine's Day from Manscaped. And with all that, man, let's get right into the goodness. We have our first game of the Toronto Raptors at the Orlando Magic. This game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We don't have many lines. We only have we have 3 of the 6, so we have 50%. But this one does not have one of the lines. On the injury report for the Raptors, we have a pretty big one, but we have OG Anunoby is out, and Norman Powell. I'm just going to mention the 2 big guys, and Norman Powell is questionable. On the Magic side, we have the same names with Aminu, Michael Carter-Williams, Fultz, Isaac, but now we have Aaron Gordon, who's going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks. He adds to the growing list of Magic playmakers that are out. Knowing that, we're going to start with the Toronto side, which is the road team, but without OG and possibly again without Powell, we're looking at a slim roster, and we're going to get probably another Terrence Davis start, and then we have the older man, Aaron Baines, playing pretty well lately, and he's probably going to get another start. But where are you looking at on the Raptors side? And do you think this game can stay competitive enough to where they can hit value?
I think it will stay competitive because with Aaron Gordon out, that kind of equivalates to OG being out. So they're both going to be banged up. Norman Powell could play, could not. So you have to wait to see closer to tip-off to see if he's going to play. But 2 guys I'm loving at a very reasonable price are, you mentioned already, Terrence Davis. He's been starting the last few games. He's not been playing incredible, but he's been playing pretty good and worthy of a $4,000 price range. And then another guy you may not have heard about, Yuta Watanabe.
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay. I love it. He's been getting minutes lately. 19 minutes last game, 24 in the game before. With these injuries, he's come out of nowhere. And if there's any team that finds talent that you've never heard of and turns them into a star, it's the Toronto Raptors. And with him coming in the last 2 games, getting up big minutes, putting up good fantasy production, I think he's a great look, great cheap option. If you're going to go big on the rest of your lineup, he's only at $3,700. So definitely make sure if Norman Powell sits out, I think you probably want to lock him in your lineup if you can.
Yeah, I like that too. If Norman Powell sits out, Terrence Davis is probably going to get the start, but they've been chopping the minutes up. I think you can see Guantanamo Bay playing about 20 or so minutes, maybe 24. That's enough for him to hit value. Even high teens, 19 that he played last game, that's enough for him to hit value, and I like that too, as long as Norman Powell doesn't play. If Powell plays, then I'm not going to go to either of those guys, right? Just because he's going to be another body to cut into that. And if he's playing 30, 34, he was playing in the 40s, high 30s the last few games that he played. If he even gets to a little over 30, that cuts the ceiling of, or even the floor out from under those guys, even with OG out. But yeah, so I'm there with you on those. 2 other guys, I do want to take a look at this center battle too, because they're both fairly cheap. Bobby Boucher is already down under 5K for the first time in what feels like forever. He was on fire before, and then just lately he just hasn't played. He hit 30 minutes one time in the last since the 16th of January in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, like 9 games.
Yeah, in the last 3 games he hasn't hit 20 minutes. So I mean, it's struggle city out there. But if this is a matchup where the Magic turn to play Kem Burke an extra couple minutes. Then maybe they play 2 centers on the Raptor side, and maybe they have Boucher out there for a couple extra minutes with Baines. But I don't expect that. But that's something I want to keep an eye on, just in case we get something in the news. I'm not too high on. I really like Siakam, Van Vliet, and Lowry in this matchup, but I just don't. I know you said you think it might be close. I'm not sure how close. The Magic are just so beat up right now. I'm not sure if it's going to stay competitive enough for me to want to keep this matchup going. But if I am going to look at one of these guys, I will look at Siakam, I think, just because they don't really have anybody that can play him right now. Aaron Gordon wasn't the greatest of defenders, but outside of him, they're going to play Gary Clark more. And then there's Okeke's back as well. He's off the injury report, so he should be playing. I don't think he's going to play too many minutes, so I'll probably look at Siakam out of those 3 guys. And then when I do go to the guards, I usually take Van Vliet. They're right next to each other. But yeah, man, let's flip on over to the Magic side. And we just mentioned a bunch of people out, a couple people or one person coming back. Where can you look at on this side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Vucevic, that's a really good price at 8,200. He could have been, marked at higher than that, especially with Gordon out. So there's a little bit of value there. With Gordon out, also the scoring load should be picked up by Evan Fournier, Cole Anthony, and Terrence Ross. But you probably don't want to trust Terrence Ross. So, I mean, if you want to give a look at Fournier at 6,300, you could. It's a little high for me, though. And Cole Anthony at 5,500, I think I would take that risk if I could fit him in my lineup because, he's a scoring first point guard. And his last game with 32 minutes, he got 31 DraftKings points. So if he can keep up that production, which he should be able to in this matchup, he's going to be playing against Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. So they're similar sized point guards, and the Magic are going to have someone that has to score the ball. But other than that, the lineup is pretty sketchy for the Magic. So you wouldn't really want more than you either go with Vucevic or Cole Anthony, in my opinion. Are you thinking Fournier or just those 2 also?
Yeah, I don't know how much exposure I'll have to most of them, but yeah, Vucevic's in a very good matchup here. And he's only 8,200. He's a lot cheaper than he's been. He was at over 9K a couple of games ago. Last game he was at 8.7, so he had a big drop off on that. There's value to be had at him just cracking over 8.2. That's a very good price tag. Mm-hmm. So I'll go him first. And yeah, I probably won't get too much Fournier, though. He's going to have extra added responsibility. So is Cole Anthony. You mentioned all the people that are going to get it. I like Cole Anthony's price tag slightly more, but he's been very inconsistent, and he's going to have a tough matchup with Lowry on the other side of the ball. So I don't think I'll have too much exposure to him. But I did mention 2 guys earlier that I might be having some extra exposure to, depending on how they start this lineup here. Is something that I want to be glued in on. I want to know if they're going to play. Are they going to play big are they going to start Kem at power forward possibly, or are they going to start Gary Clark? And if they do start Birch and Vucevic together, that means Mo Bamba is going to get extra minutes. He's probably going to play closer to high teens, early 20s, especially if it's a blowout, I would expect. But and then you'll see Chuma Okeke, who's coming back, also play a handful of minutes, probably not overextended in this first game, but those are guys that I'm looking at, and just to see how this lineup shakes out in the front court, because these guys are super cheap. Okeke's at the bare minimum 3K, Bamba's at 3,100, Birch himself 4,200, and Gary Clark 3,300. Even if they start Gary Clark or Ennis and go smaller, they're probably start Ennis at small forward anyway. But even if they start Gary Clark, I still like Birch at 4,200. I think that's a very good price tag, and he's been seeing minutes next to Vooch for a little bit. He played 26 in the last one, mid 20s for the last 4 games. I think that jumps up to about 32 minutes, and at this price tag, I think he's going to easily bring back value for you, whether he starts or doesn't. But if he does start, that helps me look at Mo Bamba a little bit more for a dart throw at bare minimum.
And that's a good point. If it's a blowout, also that'll be good for Birch to get more minutes. I don't really trust any of the other guys, Clark or Ennis, but one more, or Bamba really, but one more sleeper would be Dwayne Bacon. His last 4 games, he's gotten over 20 DraftKings points, so he's only at 3,800. That would be a great, roll of the dice also if you needed a cheap option.
All right, man. Sounds good. And let's jump on to this next game, and this is the game that I know everybody's going to be glued to the TV on. It is the Los Angeles Clippers at the Brooklyn Nets. We do not have a spread for this one. We don't have a spread for 3, and the last one is the game that might get postponed is the one we don't have a spread for. But we do have an injury report. And for the Nets, we have similar people. Shumpert, they just signed. He's not with the team. Dinwiddie's out for the year. Nicholas Claxton's not going to be back for maybe another month or so, closer to the trade, the All-Star break, they said. And for the Clippers, we have Nicholas Batum is now questionable. He missed the last game, but he's questionable for this one. And Pat Bev is out again. But let's start with the away team and the Clippers. And we have 2 of the highest-priced guys on the slate on this side of the ball, and then we have 3 of the highest-priced guys on the slate on the other side of the ball. But on the Clippers side, man, where are you looking? And obviously we start with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Who would you pick out of those 2? Can you play both? And if you're not going there, where can you go with the rest of these guys?
I never like playing 2 guys on the same team unless they're like point guard or center. So I would have to choose either Kawhi or Paul, one of the 2. And they're so similarly priced. It's kind of crazy. So it's just a matter of your preference, really. They're going to get around the same amount of points. They average 46 and 43. So that's just your preference. The big key is, with Pat Bev out, Reggie Jackson has really been stepping up his game lately. He's pretty much like a guaranteed lock for good production. And that's not something we're used to saying about Reggie Jackson. I don't know what's gotten into him this year, but at 5,100, he would be a great value. Terrence Mann was putting up numbers like that, but his last 2 games have been too scary for me to touch. So I would go with one of the big 2 and then Reggie Jackson. Other than that, I mean, you could look at Ivica Zubac, but I wouldn't. So I would go one of the big 2 of Reggie Jackson for the Clippers. What about you?
Yeah, I don't mind the Reggie Jackson call at 5,100, knowing that this team really isn't playing much defense at all on the other side of the ball. They're playing some of the worst defense ever since that trade, which makes sense. Outside of them, I don't mind. I'm probably going to get exposure to one of these two big guys. I don't know exactly which one I want to lean towards yet. I'm thinking Kawhi Leonard right now, but this is a game that both of these guys are going to get up for. I'll see how they're looking and see if Batum is back. Batum kind of helps them roll. He helps Paul George a little bit, gets him cleaner looks and whatnot. So that's something I'll be eyeing into. But I'm leaning more towards Kawhi Leonard and paying that extra 300, and depending on if it's just a positional flexibility thing that I need to go George on. But yeah, there's not too much outside of them that I'm huge on. But if Batum doesn't play, I don't mind looking at Marcus Morris at 4,700. But yeah, for this matchup, he should get extra minutes. They're not going to be playing Patrick Patterson on Kevin Durant as much. I don't think he's going to hit that 20-minute mark, but I wouldn't mind looking there. But if Batum plays, then I'm not too high on. It's just the ancillary pieces aren't there for the Clippers.
Yeah. I mean, it's slim pickings. I mean, you got Luke Kennard, but he really is just not a productive DraftKings player. So it would be a risk for Morris. I don't like Morris, but he could end up, having a big game. That's a risk. It could be worth the risk. I
think he has to play more minutes. If Batum doesn't play in this matchup, I think he gets over 30 because he's best suited to guard Durant unless they go smaller and put Kawhi or Paul George, one of them, on him. But if they're not, they haven't been too willing to do that much this year. So I think just Marcus Morris matches up much better than a slow Pat Patterson would.
Totally agree with that.
But that's if Batum doesn't play. He's questionable, so we'll see about that one. But let's jump on to the other side of the ball, and we have even higher price guys. We have Harden, Durant, Kyrie. Two of these guys clear the 10,000 mark. One of them is nearly 9. And then we have Joe Harris is now getting up at 6K, and we have Jeff Green at 54, Jordan at 49. Are you going to play? Pretty much, it's hard to play more than one of these Nets guys. But it looks like Harden he's off the injury report. He missed the last game. But can you go to one of them knowing that all three of them are going to play? And can you look at the rest of the guys knowing that as of now, all three of them are going to be playing this one?
Yes, I mean, you can't go wrong with either. You just obviously wouldn't want to pick either Harden and Durant. But for me, the value is in Kyrie at 8,800. He can go off at any minute. Basically, he's getting around 40 DraftKings points the last few games. But at any moment, he can get 50 or 60. So that would be the best risk for me. They already are pricing Durant and Harden like they're going to get 50 or 60. But you can get Kyrie for $2,000 cheaper and get that same production possibly. And another guy I like his value is Jeff Green at 5,400. He's been playing incredible. Like his last 10 games have all been, worthy of a start. And so at 5,400, if you wanted to take that, option, he's a power forward or center eligibility. You could go with that. But if you have the money to spend, you can't go wrong. I mean, Harden, he can easily put up a triple-double, so you can get those stats in all three categories. But Durant's going to put up the points. But I really like Kyrie and Jeff Green. What about you?
Yeah, so I think Harden has the best matchup in this. I think Kyrie's going to see a lot of Paul George. I would assume I think that's where it's going to go with Harden playing point guard. I think that Durant is going to see more Kawhi than we're thinking, especially if Batum plays. Batum can just slide and go on Joe Harris, especially in crunch time. So I'm not sure, but I don't really want to pay the $11K for James Harden, knowing that there's some other guys on this slate that have higher upside, better matchup, and don't have to share the ball with two other superstars. So that's the only negative thing for him. I think that if he was priced down near like 9-7, I would like him a lot more because I do think that he's going to be wind up having the better of the matchups. But it's tough for me, and I'll probably have more Durant exposure than Harden exposure because of it, and I'll probably have the most Kyrie exposure just because you're getting that giant discount. He's not playing on the ball too much, but he is getting a good amount of assists still, and he's taking a ton of shots, and he's never been one to shy away from that. So I think just pricing-wise, I'm going to be leaning more Kyrie than the other two guys. And yeah, I like how you mentioned Jeff Green. They've been playing him a lot. They probably do play more Jordan here, but Serge Ibaka can stretch the floor, and he's probably going to have Jeff Green go down there until they finally get another big guy that can just guard towards the perimeter or isn't DeAndre Jordan. So I don't mind Jeff Green at 5,400 either if you're going a little cheaper. Outside of that, I'm not too high on everybody else. I would like if Joe Harris was back near 5K, but right now, with all three guys about to play that we know of right now, I can't really look at anybody else besides them, and I don't mind Jeff Green just because he's playing a lot.
Yep, totally agree. Bruce Brown was putting some productive numbers up, but that's normally with one of the big three missing, so you can't really trust him either. So, yeah. It's got to be one of the big three and Jeff Green more than likely.
And we may get the news that someone's not going to play, but we don't know that at the moment.
Right.
But yeah, going on to the game 3, man, we have this one starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we do have a spread for this one. This is the Memphis Grizzlies at the Indiana Pacers. We have a 220 over-under, and the Pacers are 6.5-point favorites at home. The Grizzlies will be playing on the second night of a back-to-back. They are playing right now. Ja Morant left the game briefly, returned. I was one who I went to go pick up Tyus Jones really quick. I saw him limping off the court, and then he came back. But here we are. Here we are, and we have the Grizzlies on as we don't have a injury report for the Grizzlies because they are playing. We might get a Ja Morant questionable because he did leave for a moment, but we don't know for sure. And on the Pacers side, we have T.J. Warren, Karis LeVert. They're not coming back anytime soon. And then we have everybody else is on a two-way contract that is not playing. But let's start with the Grizzlies side, man. We see Ja at 75, and the injury report for him is going to be something that we're going to have to monitor.
Right.
And then we're going to have to also monitor the injury report on J-Val at 6,700. He didn't play on Monday, but I'm not sure. He looked like he was going to play over the weekend, and then he was a late scratch. And then they didn't play on Monday, so that was very weird. Maybe it's a conditioning thing. Same with Grayson Allen. He looked like he was about to play, and then he was also still in COVID-19 protocols on Monday. So those are two people that were watching. Maybe it was because of the back-to-back. They just said, okay, we only want you guys for one because you haven't played in a while. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's going to be something to monitor. Hopefully we have that news before the 8 p.m. tip-off time. And I guess I'll jump into the Grizzlies. I've been talking about them. But yeah, if J-Val plays, he's going to depends on what shape he is in and if he's ready for a full workload. Because if he is, 6,700 is a very good price tag. This is a guy that's normally in the mid 7K. I know he's probably not going to play a full complement of minutes, and even then, that's still not a terrible price tag for him, and I wouldn't mind getting some shares. I just want to have the news on that beforehand, preferably. Outside of him, if he doesn't play, we're going to get another Xavier Tillman start, and he's been playing pretty decently. He's now priced at 5,100. He keeps going up, so it's not the gimme that he was a couple games ago when he was still in the mid 3Ks. And then we're going to have more minutes for Gorgie Zhang because this is a big matchup. Him and Brandon Clark need to play in this one. But I don't love the price tags for these guys so much that they're playable now. That Zhang is 4,700 now, so I'm not too high on him. But I'm finally seeing DeAnthony Melton get some minutes, and I am very excited about that. At 45, I don't mind playing him if Grayson Allen is still out. And then if J-Val is still out, just shuffles the rotation a little bit. Speaking of Grayson Allen, if he's still out, and if Ja Morant is going to sit for some reason, if he wakes up sore in the morning, Tyus Jones is only 4,300. That's a fantastic price tag if we get that news. But not huge on most of these guys. If Grayson Allen's out again, I don't mind going back to Desmond Bane at 3,500. Great price tag. This guy's playing a lot of minutes right now, and he's hitting his shots and doing a little bit of everything to bring you back value there. And then I guess we'll go back to Ja at 75. Still a good price tag for him. But I do want to see, I know he's playing and he came back into the game, but I do want to see if that ankle swells up overnight before I can commit to that, knowing that there is a lot of high-priced guys on this slate in pretty good matchups.
Yeah, you pretty much covered it all. I mean, the only thing I would say is Kyle Anderson. He's still out there, still being very productive, putting up good numbers, getting 25 to 30 minutes a game. So especially if everyone is out or multiple people are out, he's a great option at 5,700 at small forward or power forward. Other than that, you covered the Grizzlies very well.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, and then we can jump on to the Indiana Pacers. If you want to jump on this one first, go be my guest, buddy.
All right, the Pacers. The main one I'm looking at is Jeremy Lamb. He's getting his footing back. After the long layoff with the injury, his last two games, he's ramping up the minutes. He's getting around 28 DraftKings points a game. Only at 5,400, that's a really good price for him because he's only going to get more minutes, as long as it's not a back-to-back. Sneaky play at TJ McConnell, 5,000. He's been getting minutes, but I probably wouldn't trust that. So the best sneaky play is Jeremy Lamb for the Pacers. And obviously you have the big guys, Sabonis and Miles Turner. Miles Turner at 6,800. That's a little bit much for me because he's still a little up and down for me. He's having a really good season and mainly a good defensive season, and that doesn't always show up in DraftKings points. And Sabonis at 8,700. He should get you around 40 points, DraftKings points. Malcolm Brogdon is having an unbelievable season. He should be a lock for the All-Star game. So at 7,900, I would love to play him a lot more than I would play John Morant at 7,500, like we were talking, because of Morant's injury tonight. You're going to have Brogdon fully healthy, and he's a lock for 40-plus DraftKings points at 7,900. That's a very reasonable price. So if you're just looking at the slate and you see the stars, you're going to see Sabonis, John Morant, well, it's not many stars on Memphis, but don't overlook Malcolm Brogdon. He's having an incredible season this year.
And I think Malcolm Brogdon is the one guy I want to play on this team. He's back under 8K, and he's been 40 points the last 4 games at least, with the upside to get more. So I'm with Malcolm Brogdon. I'm going to have a lot of shares of him. Maybe the ceiling isn't there right now, especially against a good Memphis team that is playing really well on defense. But the floor is just super safe, man. And yeah. I know that if I play him, I'm not going to have the rug pulled out under me. I know the floor is sturdy, and I'm going to be able to walk across a bridge, not knowing that it's fine. It's fine, and I'm good on the other end. Whether it's sunshine and rainbows on the other end, or just
oh my gosh, here it goes.
The analogy, or just a nice green. A nice
okay, all right, okay.
Green grass. I like Malcolm Brogdon on this squad.
Well, listen, what do you have against Jeremy Lamb? You don't think it's a good matchup for him?
I didn't even get there yet. I was talking about Brogdon. I said he'd be the one guy that I'm super safe. I'm definitely playing on this team. I don't mind Jeremy Lamb. I think he's been playing pretty well. For 5,400, I'm not sold, 100% sold on it, because I think we do have other options around that price tag. Sure. I think Brogdon in that high 7, low 8 is probably my favorite play, and we might get to that later when we do the favorite play breakdowns. But I don't mind Jeremy Lamb either. I like him more than a McConnell. I wish McConnell was back to 4K because he's playing pretty well. I like him more than his teammate Holiday and McDermott. So I don't mind him there, and he would be in one of my player pools. But I think we have some other value around there that I'm not going to lock him in there.
Sounds good. All
right, man. And let's get on to this other game. We got 3 games left here, and this is going to be probably the highest scoring game of the night, unless the Clippers and Nets say something else. But we have a spread for this one, and it is I'll say the teams first. the Blazers at the Wizards, 240.5 total, with a Wizards being the 2-point home favorites. On the injury report, we have nothing for the Blazers submitted. And on the Wizards, we have Raul Neto out and Thomas Bryant out for the year. Let's start with the Blazers. And they also played tonight. They also got beat pretty handedly by the Bucks. I don't think anyone left. Anything happened too badly for them, but we'll see how the injury report shakes out when they send it in. You will have an official one by 1:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. If we have 1:30, 5:30, 8:30, they always have the official injury reports sent out. But on the Blazers side, man, we have Lillard and we have everybody else. I'll just jump in first. Lillard at 10-7. The reason why I didn't, when I said I really like Harden's matchup, I think he has the best one on the Nets, but there are some other guys. And the other guys specifically that we're paying up for in the elite category of over 10K is Damian Lillard. And this matchup screams, wow. The Wizards play just as much defense as the Blazers, and that is not much. So this is going to be every bit of that 240 total, and probably even more. These guys are going to just go up and down the court. And if you look at the Blazers, you see CJ McCollum's out, Nurkic's out, Derek Jones Jr., I know he's not a huge usage guy, but he's out. Zach Collins hasn't played yet. That's three of their 5 starters are not going to play in this game, just like the last couple games. But, I mean, all the usage gets funneled into Dame. He just put up tonight he only shot 6 of 13. 2 of 7 from 3, only had 17 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds in 27 minutes, but they got flat out beat. So I'm not putting any stock into that. And maybe people do put stock into that and see 10-7 and don't want any shares of him. But if you're going to pay up, he's the guy that if you're going to pay up to the elite over nearly 11K thing, he's the guy that I want, knowing that the usage is there, the matchup is there, and everything else you want is there. How do you feel about Lillard before we get into the other pieces?
I totally agree about Lillard. A lot of other teams, like we're talking about with the Brooklyn Nets, they have 3 guys. They're all productive, but they still have to split, share the ball, share the production. Damian Lillard does not have to. So he pretty much is a guaranteed lock to have, an all-star caliber game, at every level with the assists, points, rebounds, steals, all of that. So, he's probably the best lock at over 10,000 throughout the whole slate. Another moving down the lineup, Enes Kanter has been playing well. I know you look at Enes Kanter on his DraftKings profile, he still got the Celtics uniform on. You probably think when he was with the Celtics, he didn't even get off the bench, but he's being very productive with the Portland Trail Blazers. And he's only at 6,900. I was just gonna slide that right on through there. Anyway.
Hey, I'm not letting you slide. I heard there was a lot of smack talking about myself on the last Tuesday podcast. True. Nothing's gonna get slid over here.
But since Nurkic has been out, even with Nurkic there, Kanter's been having a great season. With Nurkic out, Kanter's been even better. He should get you close to 38, 40 DraftKings points at 6,900. And Gary Trent is a name that you normally see, and you're like, oh, I'm not touching him. He's too inconsistent up and down. And, that's normally how he is. But his last 3 games without McCollum there, he seems to be finding the groove, and he's averaging over 30 DraftKings points a game. So he's a guy you can take a risk on at 6,000. Then it gets murky after that. The only other guy I would mention is Anthony Simons. He's a little sketchy, but out of his last 4 games, the 3 before this last one were all productive DraftKings games. His last game, he only got 14 DraftKings points, but before that, he was getting on the road there, so he could easily have a good game this next game against Washington. They're not a great defensive team, so he's at 4,300. That could be a little sneaky play right there because he's filling the McCollum role. He just obviously is not as talented as McCollum, but he still can put up some points. Yeah,
and I like Kanter too. I think he's a pretty solid play here. 69 is still high for him, but that there's still value to be had here, especially in this matchup. The Wizards front court is just bad.
Terrible.
I didn't want to be too brutal, but like I said, it's just bad. But yeah, so there is still some meat left on the bone at 6,900. I know it is a high price tag that you normally don't want to pay, but there's still some value to be found there. I think Trent is solid. I just don't like the price tag. So at 6K, I'll probably move down the line on this team and look at Robert Covington, who's starting to play a little bit better. He didn't play great tonight. He shot 2 of 9, but he did grab 8 rebounds, got a couple assists, got a couple steals. In this matchup, again, the front court is bad. Rui is not a good defender, and at 52, I think you can bring back some solid value there. I probably won't be going to Melo at 47, even though this is a type of matchup that he can just score around. So I can see people going there, but I'll probably just pivot to Rocco for an extra 500. And then you keep going down the line. And you mentioned Simons, there was Hood. Nasir Little, he just put up 30 points tonight. I know a lot of it was garbage time. They just got blown out. But he shot 11 of 18 tonight. He took the most shots on the team. He played 30 minutes, tied for the most on the team, and he put up 30 points.
30 real points.
Yeah, 30 real points, I should say. Thank you for correcting me on that. With other stats, he had 6 boards, an assist, a steal, two blocks. He made 5 of 7 from 3. But if he's going to play, and even before, he'd been starting the last couple games. He barely played the couple games before that. Maybe it was just a blowout why he got extra run. Or maybe that extra run where he just put up numbers makes him get more run in real time. And at a minimum salary of $3,100, He's a
Wow.
guy that you can look at, especially in this matchup. I'm not saying lock him into cash games, but as a GPP pump play, 3,100 for a guy who's starting and has a matchup against the Wizards, you can do a lot
Yeah.
worse than that. So
Yeah.
I might have I'll have a few shares of Little. I'm again not, I won't totally trust him in cash, but if you're not getting Lillard exposure, then he's one of the guys that I would be targeting as well, just because it's the Wizards and he had a great game last night.
That is a great call. That is a great call. You definitely got to look out for that. Everyone needs to write that name down, Nasir Little. I remember when he was drafted by Portland, he was considered a steal of the draft, but since then he hasn't played much. So,
Yeah,
the injury to Derrick Jones Jr. and C.J. McCollum is going to open up some playing time for him. They should give it to him. So definitely check the lineup tonight and see if he's starting. Especially, wow, that's a steal of the night, 3,100.
yeah, it's a big one to keep an eye on.
Definitely.
And then we flip on to the other side. We have two other high priced guys with Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook. West looked healthy last game, and
Yeah.
if he's healthy at 9,100, I'm going to have a lot of shares of him. I'm going to have more of him than Kyrie Irving. He's probably going to be one of my favorite high priced plays if he looks healthy again. Not just because he dropped 41 on the Nets in a game that I know he got up for, seeing James Harden and KD playing together on the same team against him. But he's going to want to get up again for this game against Lillard, who's still talking about sending him and his Thunder team home in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So he's going to be pissed for this one. And at 9,100, you're getting a discount from the other top guys. Again, the Blazers don't play defense. Lillard is one of those guys who is not a great defender. And at 91, if this guy is healthy and going to play 34 minutes, not be the limited Westbrook we were seeing for a few games, man, that's a fantastic price tag. And not if he doesn't, he's not going to drop 40, but he could get close to a triple double again and easily get you back value. I'll have more shares of him than Beal for that $800 difference, but there are more point guards that I like than shooting guards, so maybe there's a change there. But yeah, I'll definitely like me some Westbrook. How about yourself, man?
It's hard for me to trust Westbrook. I mean, he had the game of the season, his best game of the season with 73 DraftKings points. I don't think he's gonna, reproduce that, again back to back. So I think I would rather have Beal than Westbrook, but it's just a matter of personal opinion. Either one should be.
I think you called
fine.
him Westbrook. He does rest a lot.
He's going to be resting probably against the Portland Trailblazers. So, no, I mean it's a high price. I'd rather play Dame at 10-7 than Russ at 91, and fill my lineup in other ways. But do you want to make a bet, Santino? Is this what you want to do again? I don't think you want this again.
What bet?
You're going to say Westbrook, and I'm going to say Beal's going to have a better game?
No, I think Beal's going to have a really good game, too. I just like Westbrook at 9,100.
Okay. But other than that, it's not many Wizards that I trust. I like Ish Smith at 4,500. He just recently had his first game back from injury/COVID. And got automatically 32 DraftKings points, and the Wizards had their best game of the season. So I think they're gonna want to keep giving him minutes and fitting him in there. And he played with Russ last game, so it's not just like you need Russ out of the game for Ish to be productive. So I think he is probably the only other sleeper I would like to have on there, other than Mo Wagner. His last game he had 30, but the game before that he had 4.5. So I mean, you just never know with him. You would think, like I said, after their best game, their team's best game of the season, they would stick with that lineup. But it's a little risky for me. So that's all I would look at on the Wizards.
Yeah, I'm only looking at the two guys and then Wagner, I think, or Wagner, 3,800. This is a good matchup for him, and I think he's the guy that should be playing more. Over Len and Rolo in this particular matchup. He can stretch the floor better than them, and bringing Enes Kanter out of the paint, which he's not even a good rim protector anyway, but making him even more uncomfortable is a nice thing to do in this matchup. So I think Wagner can be a guy you can look at, but I don't know if they necessarily do that, and they probably chop up all the minutes. So it's not something that you can fully trust, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Definitely.
And and if you do want to make that bet, let's make it a value-based thing, because you're getting a rock-solid $800 extra out of here. And
whatever you want to do.
I think Westbrook has a better value game.
I'm with it. Let's do it. Put it on the board.
I like it. And then let's go to the last two games. But before we do that, I do have to pause this show for one quick second and let you guys know about the Bruise Letter. If you were looking at your email today, you saw the first Bruise Letter of the season. It took a little bit, but we got it, and we got it for every team. It was a massive newsletter. And this is exclusive content, guys, that you cannot find anywhere else. It's not on the website. It's not on any podcast. It's not on any social media. It's only in the email newsletter, and you can sign up to get it for free. Just go to bit.ly/BruiseLetter2021 and sign up in 10 seconds. Again, the site is bit.ly/BruiseLetter2021. Aaron Brewski, straight to your inbox. Enjoy. And it was a massive email. And I also want to shout out the DFS pass. And the Fantasy Pass. We think these are the best deals in the industry. The Fantasy Pass is just $4.99 per month, and it has all your in-season tools. And the DFS Pass is only $1.99 a month, and it has all the articles you're going to need. It has the best thing that I personally think is the Discord chat, to where you get the latest breaking news and how to switch your lineup, and we answer all your questions that you have, all the way up to lock, and then even after that. But with the season that we have this year, with everything changing on a dime and then last second, and we just saw it again last night, or earlier today, I should say, because we're about near midnight here in the Eastern Standard Time. But we saw the Pistons and Nuggets get canceled 3 minutes before tip-off. Really ruined everybody's lineup who had it, because there was no other people to pivot to. That was the last game of the night, and they waited. But the Discord lets you see where we change our stuff, because we're doing this a little bit early, and then when things change and go crazy, we have to tell you guys. We'll tell you where we think the usage and what's not's going to go. But the Discord is awesome, and it's something that you guys would love. You guys would love if you joined it. But Will, let's get back onto the last two games of the night. The last two games are at both 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Boston Celtics at the Golden State Warriors, and we do have a spread for this one. 225 is the total, and the Celtics are 3.5-point road favorites. We'll start with the Celtics, and we'll start with the two big guys, Tatum and Brown. And we have Brown under 8K finally for what feels like forever. And then we have Kemba Walker creeping up there at 6'7". But we won't have Marcus Smart for this one. So where do you see the usage go? And who do you think gets the bump off the bench, or who do you think starts in Marcus Smart's spot?
Well, I think the main usage is going to be at Kemba Walker. I know a lot of people are going to be looking at, man, he went 1 for 12 last game and missed the game-winning shot at the end of the game. But I think he will bounce back and have a good game, and be worth the price of $6,700. And not many people are going to be playing him also, if you're factoring that in. Because Marcus Smart is out, he's going to have to lift the load a little bit more. And Peyton Pritchard is out. I mean, I don't know who's going to get the minutes. I think it should be Naismith, but, I mean, they're not wanting to play him. Who do you think is going to fill the Marcus Smart role?
I don't know. Maybe Jeff Teague gets played, or they just go super big again, and then have Kemba, Brown, Tatum, Tice, and Thompson starting. That's what they had in the beginning, but you switched Kemba out for Smart, and that was their starting lineup earlier in the year. So maybe they go back to that. Maybe they play more semi-pro Ojale. I don't know, but because they haven't really extended, they haven't played much of Kemba and Teague together since he's been back, and they really don't want to play Naismith that much. So we'll see exactly
for some
what
reason.
happens.
I mean, they drafted him. They drafted him in the first round. You might want to give him some minutes. It could help you out in the playoffs, but who knows what Boston's up to.
And he's been pretty good. And they have a lot of front court options if they do that. They play Grant Williams a good amount. They have Robert Williams off the bench. So they might just go bigger. And the Warriors play a bit big anyway. They have Oubre was playing better as a 4 than a 3 last year, and now he's back to the 3. They have Draymond. They don't have Wiseman, but they'll probably start Looney. So maybe they just play bigger for a couple games until they reevaluate Marcus Smart, and they can in this matchup. So that's something that I'll keep an eye on. And if they do, man, I really like Daniel Tice as a center, much better than a power forward next to Tristan Thompson. I was going to say I like him at his $5K price tag, and I really like that. But if now I'm thinking more, if they go with the bigger lineup, I don't know if I really want to play him at $5K. Thompson eats up the paint. He doesn't do much outside of the paint.
Yeah.
He grabs a lot of rebounds, and he kind of hurts Tice's value. Tice will still be pretty good in real life, but not much so in fantasy. So I think I'll probably go more Jaylen Brown in this one, but I don't want to pay those price tags too much. Even though all these matchups are pretty good, I think Kemba Walker, like you mentioned, is in a pretty good spot at 67. Probably the best spot of the 3 just because of the price tag.
Yeah.
But I do like a few point guards on this slate, so I don't know how much exposure I'll have to him. And it's just unfortunate. This is a good matchup for these guys.
I do think Jason Tatum, I didn't really mention him, but at 8,600, he's gonna, if anyone's gonna shoot the ball more, I think it'll be him. He's averaging around 18 to 20 shots a game. He can get 4 or 5 more shots against the Warriors, to fill in that Marcus Smart production. So Jaylen Brown is kind of, he's a little more unselfish, especially with Kemba back. It seems like they're trying to find their groove, and Jaylen was playing, ridiculous, but he's still playing well. But last game he had 30. He's one of his lowest DraftKings value points was his last game with Kemba, getting back into production. But I think Jason Tatum at 8,600 would be worth that price also.
Yeah, I don't mind Tatum either. He's always a good option to take.
Yeah.
There's just so many high-priced guys on this matchup with that. I don't know how many times I'll be going there, but he's in a very good matchup too. Whether he's going up again he's starting at the 3 or the 4.
Yeah.
But what about on this Golden State side? We have Draymond Green. I believe he got bumped up to probable before we jumped on. And then we have James Wiseman missing at least a week to 10 days. Eric Pascal, I believe, is probable as well. Did I not? Oh, I didn't read the injury report for these guys. Silly me. We have we have Pascal and Draymond Green both probable. Everybody else we already know has been out, except Wiseman's out now. I just mentioned him. And then the other guys that are out are on the 2-way. But on the Warrior side, man, can you play Seth in this matchup? Or if you can't go Seth, can you go to many of these other guys?
I get to call you out. You said Seth. Not Seth.
I said Seth. Can you? Wow, I looked at the wrong Curry. Can you play Steph?
I definitely think you can play Steph, especially with Marcus Smart out, because he's the agitator. Now you just have Steph versus Kemba, and that's a lot easier matchup for him. And he's just gonna have to put up the points because with Wiseman out, Draymond probable. Draymond's not gonna shoot that much. And Oubre shouldn't be shooting that much the way he's been playing lately. So to keep up with Boston's, offensive game and their great defense, I think Steph is going to have to do a lot. It'll probably be a one-man show. I really like Wiggins. He's having a great season this year. It's a little risky at 6,400, but, he's been having a good season. I would not touch Oubre. And I do like Draymond, actually. With Wiseman out, that makes me feel more comfortable playing him. And, he steps up in primetime games against good teams. So, other than that, I wouldn't touch anyone else on this team.
Yeah, don't hate Draymond, especially if Tice is out there. At 4,900, that's a pretty solid price tag. I don't know how much Curry I'll get. I like so many guys on the slate in different matchups. But if I play about 20, I might have 2 shares of Curry. I'm going to have
There's a lot of good point guards playing tonight.
Yeah, there's just so many good point guards, but I'm just not going to have too many shares of Curry here. Even though, just like Tatum, I mentioned, I like both these guys, and I think they're both solid. I'm just not going to have so much exposure to the top end of this game. But I will be looking.
Quick question. Who do you think will have a better game, Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving? Or you think they'll be similar? Because their price range is around $800 difference.
Yeah, the $800 difference would lean me towards Kyrie, just because of the matchup type of thing. But I also don't mind going Curry. But out of those three, I'm going to go Westbrook more in the middle of both those price tags.
Okay.
And then, but the guys that I'm looking at on this Warriors side are the goofy guys in the front court. And yes, I said goofy guys. I'm looking at Kevon Looney and
I hate
Eric
Looney.
Pascal. I don't like him, but without Wiseman, he's probably going to play around 20 to 24 minutes.
No.
And at 3,400, he can bring back value there for you. Another guy if you're digging deep in the bargain bin. And same with EP out there at 3,500. He should be seeing extra minutes as well. And maybe he even gets the start. One of those two are going to start, and then whoever doesn't is going to get more shots and more opportunity without Wiseman. While Wiseman hasn't been playing a great deal of minutes, his usage and those minutes are something that this team needs, and especially if Boston goes a little bit bigger, they're going to need the size of Looney and Pascal. So I don't mind looking at that direction. We mentioned quite a few people in the under 4K range that you could look at, and I think these two are two other guys that can throw in the pool and have a little bit safer of a 20 to 24 type minute roll. So I don't mind there.
Yeah, I'm throwing up in my mouth. Yeah.
And I don't blame you. They're not the prettiest of names, and I started off with the goofy guys in the front court, but they do have a safer role than most, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at on the other side at Robert Williams, he's around that same price range at 3,500. But like you said, you just don't know what role they're going to play. So yeah, with Wiseman out, Pascal or Looney will be getting more minutes, but it's rough. That's the hard one to swallow right there.
If the Celtics do decide to go big in this one, that does also help Robert Williams as the main backup big, but they'll probably also play Grant Williams a lot too. So
it's crazy that Robert Williams is probably the most talented big they have on their team, and they're using him as their third center. But
I think Tice is a real good glue guy, but the upside for DFS is easily with Robert Williams.
Yeah.
But let's jump on to this last game. We don't have a spread for this one, and likely so. I don't even know if it's going to play, so we don't have to crush ourselves with this one. But we have the Detroit Pistons at the Utah Jazz, and this starts at 10 p.m. We don't have an injury report for the Pistons. They were supposed to play tonight, and there is nobody but Elijah Hughes and a couple G League guys on the injury report for the Jazz. Neither of them are playing, but let's start with the Pistons. If this game does play, can you look at some of these guys? We see Grant all the way down to 7K. He was huffing and puffing over mid 8.5K not too long ago. But can you look at any of these guys?
Definitely. I mean, I like Grant. He's been having, borderline all-star year. His last two games, his production was down. But, I mean, I believe in him, and I think that will tend to, rise back up. And at 7,000, it's not that huge of a risk. It's not like he's at 8,000 or 9,000. Everyone else you would think is a big risk. But if you look at DeLon Wright, he's really been playing well probably over the last 9 games. Normally, he is a guy that shows up one game, then he's gone 5 or 6 games. Then he shows up again, and everyone expects big things of him, and he just disappears. But this role with the Pistons this year, they're starting to give him minutes. The Pistons are playing veterans. They have a bunch of young guys, but they're sticking with the veterans like DeLon Wright and Wayne Ellington, Blake Griffin, and not playing the rookies like Sadiq Bey and, Sable. I think that's his name, Sable, another rookie they drafted. Sabin Lee, yeah. And
Sable.
I'm thinking about an
old wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, so I think DeLon Wright is trustworthy at 6,000. He should be safe, have a safe floor to get you around 30 DraftKings points. I don't trust Blake Griffin. And at 5,000, you can look at Wayne Ellington, but his last game would probably scare anyone off. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind Grant at 7K. We're finally getting him closer to where we can bring back value here. So I don't mind looking there. I don't also mind looking at Derrick Rose and Josh Jackson. Not so much Jackson because he hasn't been getting the minutes lately, but Rose at 45. I mean, that's just. I know he hasn't played much minutes in the last four, especially 20 minutes tops in the last four, but still at 45. That's very, very cheap. He's the cheapest guy until they go on the team until they go to all the rookies. Like it goes from him, then Isaiah Stewart at 33. So if he can get back to 26 minutes, 45, he could easily eat value there. But I'm really honestly not looking at many people in this entire matchup because I don't know if it's going to be played. If I don't have any news on this game before lock, I'm not touching them. I'm not getting tricked like the night before. I know that the Pistons came back with an inconclusive test, and that's why they didn't play. But when it happens 3 minutes before lock, you can't fool me again twice. So I'm going to be very cautious going into tomorrow on this game in particular, and before I can lock anybody in. And that's on both sides because if this game doesn't play, then I'm kind of taking away value from other places that I could be going, and I can only pivot to that Boston Golden State game.
Totally agree. And the other rookie they had is Isaiah Stewart, who I think that should be starting at center for Detroit, but it'll eventually come by the end of the year because Plumlee is just, I don't know why they paid Plumlee over Christian Wood. So anyway, we're going to move on to Utah. And is there anyone on Utah that you're interested in playing? Because it's looking kind of rough over there too.
I mean, at 7-6, I wouldn't mind playing Mitchell, but again, I'm just not so sure about this game. And I guess you can throw in Mitchell, and if he doesn't play, if you have an extra 200, you can go right to Jaylen Brown, but that means you'd have to have him in your util. It's just makes me very nervous to know that I could be playing these guys and it not happen. But again, hopefully we have that information by 6:30ish so we can have time to see all the other late breaking news and make changes. If this game does play, I think Mitchell at 7-6 is really solid value, hoping that this game stays close. If it doesn't, they're not going to overextend him or Gobert or Conley. Maybe they extend Double B just because they want to get him back continuing in this groove. They'll probably maybe extend Jordan Clarkson, but I don't want to pay near 6K for either of those guys. I'll probably not have too much exposure to this team if it does get played because I don't know how close this game is going to be. The Pistons have been playing more competitive against better teams, so we can hopefully rely on that. And I would have the most exposure to Mitchell on this squad.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan Mitchell did get a concussion recently, and his last game, his production was very down. So I don't know if he's still feeling some effects from that. So if you wanted to sway away from him, because of the possibility that this game could be postponed, but also the fact that Mitchell could be still recovering from that concussion, because his last two games have not been like the Donovan Mitchell we've been expecting, to see. And other than that, I don't really like anyone besides Royce O'Neal. He's been very productive, especially his last four games. And I thought last game his production would drop off because, he was ramping up while Mitchell was out and another player was out too. But then they came back and he still had a really good game. So he's clearly a key factor on their team. To just be putting up solid production that you can count on. It's not going to be anything too amazing, but if you just need something solid at 5,200, it's a little higher than you probably would want to play, but you could take that risk and play him if you needed to. I probably wouldn't, but that's just a name that you can keep in mind.
All right, I like it. And before we end this, I do want to throw a little tier challenge, not a challenge, but we had a guy on Twitter said maybe we should try this, and myself and Chuck did it the other night, and I liked it. I think myself and Aaron did this too, but let's try this here and see. Let's go by tiers. So throw the viewers one of your favorite, and I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to ramble a little bit. I'm going to say it and then ramble so you have time to think. But I want to see one of your favorite expensive plays, and then we'll go to mid-tier and value plays. But let's start with the top guys. And who is your favorite expensive play? If you had to just throw one of them out there that at the moment, obviously things change as we get more news, as things, even little things that change throughout the day. But right now, if you're paying up for somebody, who would it be? And it could be anybody over 8K. Who's your favorite guy to pay up for?
Anybody over 8K. Okay. Well, see, I can't say Brogdon at 7,900 because he's 100 off. But I think Damian Lillard, like we mentioned before, he is the whole engine to this train. He should have, guaranteed amazing game. He's just been killing it this year. He's probably going to be a starter. I think this is his first time he would start for the All-Star game. So definitely Damian Lillard.
Yeah, and if you're paying top dollar, I'm going with Lillard too. But outside of there, you took that one. I'm going to go Westbrook. If I'm paying another expensive price, I think I'm going Westbrook right on the other side of the ball. Getting both point guard exposure to that game, I think, is going to be a nice touch. And if I can't, then I guess I don't mind Beal as well. But if I can get 2 point guards and still have room for all the other point guards that I like on the slate, I like both of those guys there, and he would be my favorite non-Lillard pay-up spend there. But let's go to the mid-tier. Now we're going to go any under 8K, and I'm going to go first because you're about to steal my guy. I like Brogdon here. I think we're on the same page with the guys we like, but I like Brogdon here at 79. Well, for the reasons that we mentioned before, the Grizzlies are a really good defense, but he's just super safe, man. The floor is there, and I don't have to worry about him putting up a dud because even on his duds, he's going to still bring back near value or exceed it. So I like Brogdon there as well. How about yourself?
All right, that's okay. That's where I got to back up. I don't know if this is too low or not, but Reggie Jackson at 5,100, we were talking about him. So, he's pretty much with Pat Beverly out, like we said, he's pretty much his last 4 games with Beverly out, he's been getting pretty much between 30 and 45 DraftKings points. So that's a great option for you too.
All right, man. And now let's throw out one of your favorite value plays. So I usually say under 4K. We do have a lot of options under 4K, but we'll throw out a little breathing room, about 4.5K and under. Who would be your favorite value play on this slate?
I got you. Well, I'll give you a little shot. I'm not gonna steal your guy. No, you go first because I have someone and I don't want to steal your guy. So go ahead.
No, you go first because there are.
Well, my guy is Yuta Watanabe. What'd you call him? What's his nickname?
Guantanamo Bay.
Guantanamo Bay. As long as Norman Powell is out, because OG is also out. I think at 3,700, he's small forward, power forward eligibility. He should have a productive game with all around stats. I think that's worth the risk. And if you don't say who I think you'll say, I'll mention him after you name yours.
Yeah, so it all depends on the status of John Morant, because if he doesn't play, Tyus Jones at 4.3, you're finally getting him at good price. If he doesn't play, I think if we're going slightly over 4K, I think Birch Beer at 4,200 is a solid play. I think you should see over 30 minutes in this one. But we mentioned a couple guys in the mid 3K, low 3K range. I think one of the guys, Nasir Little, is in a solid matchup against the Wizards. And
that's the one.
He's pretty much free money, or not free money, but a free spot here. He's the bare minimum, just over the bare minimum at 3,100. If he's going to see 24 minutes at bare minimum, that's just with the ability that he's shown tonight. And obviously, you're not expecting 30 points from him.
Right.
You might not even get 15. But at 3,100, if he can grab you 11 points, 4 rebounds, a steal, a block, or just a couple stuff, get you 25 DK points at 3,100. That's awesome. And then anything else he does more than that is just for free money at that point. But yeah, 3,100, that's a very good price tag for a guy who's in a starting lineup right now.
See, I know you. I knew where you were going with that. I didn't want to steal your guy.
No, I like Guantanamo Bay too. That's a solid. I think we're pretty much on the same page here, except you're hating on Russ. And in Russ we trust today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see, man. But before we head on out of here, we did spend a little bit of extra time there. But is there anything else you want to let the viewers know before we say good night?
Definitely, just like we said, it's a lot of late game change-ups, could be postponements. This person in and out of the lineup. Check us out on the Discord. Ask any questions you would like, and we'll try to get you all the latest breaking news. And you also can hit us up on Twitter. My Twitter is @WilliamIsBill, and Santino, you can hit him up. He'll let you know his.
Yeah, mine is @Santino Caccone. It's at SANTINOCACCONE. And yeah, I guess the late breaking news is something huge to follow. If you're in the Discord chat, ask questions. Hey, where do you like from this? And so on and so forth. But one thing that I do want to say, another thing that I want to reiterate that we kind of touched on before, this Detroit-Utah game that might have a cancellation. If you're playing cash, I would caution away from that just because if they're not playing, maybe I know DK was given refunds with the things that happened last night, but it's just not something that you want to take. But if you're playing GPPs and you're playing tournament chances, a lot of people are probably going to be shying away from it just like myself. But if you're playing tournament chances, that's a way to differentiate yourself just in case they do play and someone goes off. You'll probably have a lot lower ownership than normal in that. So I would take some chances there. But in cash, you want to be safe as king, and that's where I'm going to be just completely avoiding it for the most part. I shouldn't say completely, but about 90%. I don't want much to do with it in cash games. But in GPPs, I will take my chances.
Definitely. And if I have to say one more thing before we close out,
oh gosh,
this is a good one. If you listen to the show, the DFS show daily, Mike Apatria, he's going through some family issues, so just keep him in your prayers. And we just show him any support you can. So just wanted to get that out there.
All right, yeah, you were right. It is a good one, and I wholeheartedly agree with that one. But all right, buddy. That's it for our February 2nd Tuesday edition. We will catch you again tomorrow. And everybody, good luck and good day. I was going to say night, but it's going to be the daytime by the time you hear it for the most part. All right.
Peace.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.